when all we want is to be a dad, and the unexpected gets in the way, and we have to defend our rights and our kids. We fight. Marriage, parenting, divorce, custody, surviving. We fight like hell. This is the Fighting Fathers Podcast. I'm Josh Brandon, actor, voiceover artist, consultant, writer, jack of all trades, self-employed. I'm also a dad, and that is the role I take more seriously than anything else. But it's a role that I've had to fight for, like so many other dads. This podcast is about many things, but among them, we will be talking about marriage and how to stay in one and how to survive if you're no longer in one. This is a podcast for dads, but it's a podcast for dads who are married, may not be married much longer, aren't married anymore, don't ever want to get married again. But moreover, it's about dads and how we survive the struggle, how we survive the split. I almost didn't, to be honest with you. And my story, which I'll share with you, was complicated and unjust. But I had to fight. And I didn't have much of a choice, nor did I have much guidance. And I ended up making some pretty crucial mistakes that cost me valuable time with my daughter. Mistakes that prevented me from navigating the court system appropriately. This podcast, hopefully, and the people who participate in it will be excellent resources for you if you're going through this. God forbid. For me, it was one of the most difficult times I've ever experienced. And I don't talk about it a lot. And if I'm being honest with you, I've been selfish. Because my daughter's in the next room, sleeping. She's got school tomorrow, and I'll take her to school. And I'll pick her up from school. And I'm teaching her how to drive. That's not the case for a lot of guys. A lot of you guys out there are where I was at 8 years ago, where I didn't know when my next phone call would be. I didn't know when my next visit would be. When I couldn't get anybody to stand up for me. Not in the legal system anyway. I couldn't get a judge to hear my case. I couldn't get a judge to hear me. I had so many letters written on my behalf, and he just threw them out. Didn't even care. Now, I'll tell my story. It's my duty, because without fail, every time that I've opened up and shared, somebody's been helped. And every time somebody opened up and shared with me, when I was going through it, it helped. I struggled with what to call this because I wanted it to be something inspirational, but something that also felt organic to what we're going through. Because I'm also going to talk about the happy ending, but the PTSD I have still, that one day it'll all be taken away. We're going to talk about a lot of things. And I called this the Fighting Fathers Podcast. Not because, duking it out, but because it's what we do. We fight for our kids every day. Or we should. And my kid has had a particularly difficult struggle. And I won't talk a whole lot about her struggle so much, I'll be talking about mine. Her struggle is her story to share. But I do want to talk about your stories and your struggles. And if you're a dad who's survived it, I want to hear from you. Please reach out to me because I want to talk about those inspiring stories and how you survived it, how you made it on the other side. And we can help inspire other guys to not give up. And if you're a dad that's struggling with that decision, if you're a dad who's struggling trying to figure out how you're going to eat, pay child support, and fund a lawyer, I've been there. I'll answer your questions as best I can. It's the least we can do is give back to people who are in the middle of it. And I think back to where I was when I got served the divorce papers. I was lost. I had no idea what to do. I'd lost my father about 1.5 years prior, so my go-to guy for all life questions was gone. I don't want anybody else to have to go through that. So, like, share, subscribe. Feel free to join by emailing me. Shoot me a message, comment. I'll be glad to address them. Every question. I want to avoid the drama. I'm not interested in the he said, she said parts. I'm really interested in the fact and the truth. And it's hard to get there in these situations. So I don't really want to talk about issues and particulars of the divorce and the split and the relationship, except that how it affects us emotionally moving forward. Because whether we want to admit it or not, guys, we are emotional meat sacks. And if losing your kid and not knowing when you're going to see your kid again isn't the thing that triggers your emotions, you are dead inside, you know? So this podcast hopefully won't be one where we focus on the negative and dwell on the drama of people's individual stories, yet one where we can all sort of join together in unity to unite behind our own fight individually and grow a support system so that we can fight collectively through legislation or whatever it takes to get involved and to be heard. Thanks for checking it out. There'll be more coming up. Like, share, and subscribe.
This has been the Fighting Fathers Podcast. Follow on Facebook and all social media. Like, share, subscribe, and keep fighting. It's worth it.